seeing that large presence. They keep walking through there. And like you mentioned, this is an extremely large home and probably with many rooms and little secret areas. So they want to make sure that everything is cleared before they allow those investigators in to start doing that investigation, whatever it is that they're looking for. But you can see a number of those officers making their way back into that major, this is the big main house as it would be, making their way back inside. And I would venture to say that they're going to just go through every one of those rooms and make sure that there is nobody in there. I don't think they're those guys that we're seeing, guys and gals that we're seeing in those heavily armored
all right, guys,
gear and equipment. I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever.
It's going down for brother Diddy right now. You see, it's a live breaking story is going on right now. I'm breaking this live. Please share this. Puff Daddy, P Diddy, Diddy, Daddy Love, whatever you want to call him right now. And the feds are on his head, Homeland Security, both of his residents in Los Angeles and Miami being raided simultaneously. He's not, they're reporting right now that he's not at either one of those locations. Said he took a private jet to New York. Maybe he took a private jet and kept on going. It'd be interesting. I've been saying a long time, man. They should have took the cue from Russell Simmons. When Russell Simmons broke out and got dual citizenship in Bollig, he knew he could see it coming down the pipe. And y'all know who next, right? Hova. And I'm not talking about Jehovah. I'm talking about a Jay-Z. That's just my opinion, allegedly. But let's get back to this breaking story right now.
The investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and what, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security.
Get the comment section. Let me hear what you guys think. What do you think? What do you think they're looking for?
We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there, a part of all of this, and they have a number of sources on hand. On top, as well as they had ladders.
Breaking news, y'all. Breaking
a closer
news.
Look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while. And as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly media at this point. We were the first ones here on scene, but yeah, since there's probably a dozen different media agencies. Yeah, his homes on both coasts are being raided. We have not gotten
what y'all think this is about? Y'all think they about to?
He is in fact in New York right now.
What do y'all think this is about?
And of course, yeah, we haven't seen him here in Holmby Hills. This is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen.
I know one thing.
And it all unfolded, I'd say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course, it's a little bit calmer, I would say. Than
follow the ones who waited around to sue him. You might be out of luck. You should have tried to get your money right around the time Cassie got hers.
course, doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see.
The question is, what's her
of
name? What's my girl name?
Jaguar,
right?
To these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
Was
point,
Jaguar right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill, but if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby.
Damn, the nigga was living on the block with Humphrey
Glenn.
Bogart. They come get him off the block with Humphrey. If you don't know who Humphrey is, you better get on Google.
Security, though, back here on the street.
That boy was balling.
They've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside that beautiful home belonging to P. Diddy, to Sean Combs. So I don't think they have any intention, Sandra, on going anywhere anytime soon. And overhead, you can see law enforcement helicopters and, of course, Stu up there in Sky Fox.
Let me get you guys back on that shot.
Thank
right
you
there.
so much, Haley, for that perspective on the ground right there in front of that Holmby Hills mansion. Stu up in Sky Fox. It looks like, yes, there are some more law enforcement, but in different attire. Should I say
they got everybody out there, the whole alphabet mafia out there.
And we all know how that works. The suits are going to be the investigators and probably the ones that are running the show. And again, I still think that they are just waiting for that green light for them to be allowed to make their way inside the property and to make their way to the areas that I would venture to say that they probably are pretty specific. You know, they're just and
I thought they was backing up off Puffy a little bit.
I don't think they're going in randomly, just going through everybody's
stuff. Not playing with old Diddy.
They probably have an area that they know or an office that they're going to be looking into, or some computers that they might want to physically get their hands on. And that's what they're waiting for right now, to make their way inside this property. This, like you said, very beautiful home out there in the Holmby Hills area. And they just waiting to get the all clear to allow them inside, while these officers that we see right there in the tactical gear, well, their job is to make sure that everything is safe for them to go in. Now, they don't probably again, I just want to be clear. It's like nobody's thinking that there's booby traps or some kind of sniper
this could
home.
be
That's not what they're thinking at all. It's probably more along the lines of they want to make sure that everybody is outside of the home, because they don't want to have somebody stepping out or coming out later on.
For those of you who don't know, FEDS was arrested for the
that's not what they want. And right now you can see
FEDS was arrested for the murder of Tupac Shakur, and maybe because I know and some interviews he did right before he got taken in, he was saying, Puffy, man, come on, man, do something for a brother, you know what I mean? So maybe Keefe provided the information that the feds needed to finally solve the Tupac murder. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? What else? What else? P. Diddy, man, you flying to New York. You must have been going to loan Donald Trump some money. They said, nah, take that. They said, nah, take that.
Sandra, you've been saying there's a large number of people out here. I would venture to say, as far as the officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Holmby Hills area. That's part of the group right there, but there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge, and that's them right there. Actually, they perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process, or figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, you know, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs, so, or Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's one of those type of situations. And until they know who they are, they're just going to keep them in custody and possibly just let them go later on. And I don't believe the word arrested has been used.
If he did that, then he did that as a if he did that, then he did that. He was told he was to do that as a fall guy. That was that favor that was called in from him, from the people that sit above him.
Enforcement sources are telling ABC News that right now authorities are carrying out searches at properties associated with P. Diddy. This is all part of a federal investigation into human trafficking. They also say that this investigation has been ongoing now for several months. They add, our sources, that an arrest does not appear to be imminent at this time, but what you are right now is live video of one of these searches being conducted. Now, this is a search that is happening at Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles home. This is in the Beverly Hills area. So you can see a tremendous amount of law enforcement present there all around that home. So this search just began here. There's also, as we understand, another search being conducted on the other side of the country in Miami, because we are hearing from Homeland Security that there are investigations going on using the assistance of HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. We do understand that they will provide us with updates as possible, but this goes into multiple allegations against Sean Diddy Combs over the years.
That's what I'm talking
civil suits against him as well, including human trafficking, all of which he has denied, as this has been ongoing. But again, clearly an escalation that we are seeing play out live right now in Los Angeles. I want to bring in our ABC News contributor and trial attorney, Brian Buckmeyer, who I know, Brian, you have been following this case for many months, and you bring it up to me all the time. And now I wouldn't call this the culmination. In fact, probably this is just the beginning, right? So what do you make of the fact that they've decided to carry out these two searches simultaneously and on other sides of the country here?
So, Kayla, you're right. I've been talking to this about this for too long. But what does it get you? What does a person need to have the ability to search a home? Probable cause. So what I'm doing is I'm looking backwards. How could a judge grant the ability to search these two homes, and why would you do it simultaneously? Probable cause being the belief, or at least having the quantity of information that a crime either did happen, is happening, or is going to happen. That's how law enforcement must have to prove to a judge or a court why they have the opportunity or the legal ability to search someone's home. Now, why would you do it in conjunction from one property and another at the same time? Law enforcement typically does this because they are worried that information or property or evidence may be or destroyed while you're searching one property. And so they're looking for something to corroborate the belief that they have that a crime did occur. And as you pointed out earlier, he's facing multiple allegations of sex trafficking. So perhaps that is a crime in which they're investigating. Perhaps that is what they're trying to seek more information from. But in order to search a home, you have to have probable cause. The only question is, probable cause of what?
Probable cause. And so, Brian, as you look at this and you watch this, and we'll shout if we see any more movement on these screens, but it is important to note, right, that this is all being run out of the Southern District of New York here. So there is a tremendous amount of coordination happening within law enforcement at the highest levels.
Absolutely. And the reason why I believe it's being coordinated out of the SDNY, or the Southern District of New York, which encompasses, for the most part, Manhattan, is a lot of the civil allegations stem from there, whether it be Cassie or the other 4 allegations or civil lawsuits that stemmed from it afterwards. And so what it appears to be, at least if you're thinking this is connected to the civil lawsuits, are that the SDNY is coordinating with the other agencies in Miami as well as Los Angeles to search the properties of Sean Combs to see if there's any evidence of that. Now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head what would be evidence of sex trafficking, predominantly something that might stick out as to something to corroborate what we've heard in these civil allegations. But if they find it, it could lead to further investigation.
But this is very public and very,
there's no potential arrest
in the first part of the week.
There wouldn't be one in the future based on either more information collected or if they're finding whatever it is that they're hoping to find in these 2 locations.
And Brian, we do want to mention that we were initially told what we were showing our viewers here is a home in Los Angeles, California, near Beverly Hills. That is not the case. What you're seeing on your video on your screen is in Miami, and then they are also searching a home simultaneously in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills area at the exact same time. And to Brian's point here, law enforcement does that often in an effort to make sure that these searches can be conducted without sort of tipping off anyone else that might be involved, which doesn't give anyone any time to do anything questionable with evidence. So you're getting a larger shot there. You can see now just how close that home is to the water as our affiliate
That's Diddy's sons
is flying over this home again in Miami as it is being searched. And I want to now bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent, Brad Garrett. Brian Buckmeyer, don't go anywhere because I have several more questions for you as well. But Brad, as you're watching this, first of all, can you explain to us, Brad, what that vehicle is that we're seeing right there, that big white truck?
Well, I can't see, I don't have a screen up to see it, but if it looks like a cargo truck or looks like any sort of truck that you could put evidence into. So since we don't know kind of what they're looking for, I can give you a list of what I think they're looking for, is that you have to have a crime scene search vehicle to go in with the various things you need to do to search. So my guess is it's that, because my sense was they weren't going there to arrest anybody. This was to do a search. And so they took everyone probably from the evidence response teams of maybe the FBI and DHS to do this search.
Yeah, so a large vehicle to collect evidence. It does also look like it has some kind of satellite up in the air as well. We're also seeing local news in the area, and you're seeing law enforcement, Brad, sort of walking down a very long driveway to enter the home. And you're not seeing, it's not a chaotic scene at all. Definitely not. And you're right. Our sources are saying that an arrest at this point is not imminent.
Right. So, quickly, why were they able to go in there? To Brian's point, how did they convince a judge to go in there? You have to have a link directly to these 2 houses. In other words, do they have video of some of these acts that are being alleged in either location or both locations? Are there witnesses? People that have come forward? Of course, people have come forward. Can they put acts in these houses? Maybe they were there firsthand. Is there CCTV that could be seized? Does he actually have video that he collected while these acts were going on? It's not uncommon in these types of cases. So it's all about what happened in those cases that law enforcement convinced a judge that there may be elements of the crime inside these houses.
All right. Thank you so much for that analysis. I also hope we can get some video up of the raid that's happening in Los Angeles as well, so that we can learn a little bit more. But in the meantime, you're seeing, again, more video of P. Diddy there. But again, we are talking right now about a simultaneous search of 2 of his properties, one happening in Miami, the other one happening in Los Angeles. And we just have some new.
That must be crazy to be sitting in a mansion doing whatever it is you do when you're sitting in a mansion. And boom, boom, boom. FBI, going around. Like, you like, somebody playing? Who's, man? Deviante, stop playing. And you see all these strange white folks with guns pointed at you. What do you guys think it is?
beginning. So, Brian, what do you make of, first of all, that the lawyers are jumping right out to talk about this immediately, not wasting any time to draw attention to it?
Well, this is beneficial not only for their clients, but also for their cases. If we the last alleged victim, Rodney Jones Jr., who came out with allegations that seem to be very similar to Cassie, as well as the other three women who brought allegations, he said that Sean Combs has cameras throughout his home that records a lot of these events. In his complaint, that being Jones Jr.'s, he had snapshots of video that he had taken himself. And so to Brad's point, I think part of this, if the SDNY and the federal government is looking into this from the lens of these civil allegations, is to see how much of it is true. And if any of this is true, could criminal charges be levied against Sean Combs? Now, some of these civil allegations came up because of a look-back window for civil allegations through New York's Adult Survivor Act. But some of these charges, like sex trafficking, have no statute of limitations, and they have severe penalties under the law. And so law enforcement will be looking at this and saying, if these are true, and there are videos and there are cameras, or that these allegations can be corroborated through what we find in Sean Combs' home, then they will move to the next step, which would potentially being evidence collecting or arresting someone.
And Brian, if you can, just quickly, while we only have a few more moments here, help our audience understand how back they're looking. I mean, some of these allegations stem some 30 years ago, right? And they, in some ways, coincide with the uprising of his career.
Yes.
Which I think his neighbors are saying, oh, but Sean's such a nice neighbor. He gives such great gifts during Christmas. And my uncle, my grandson loves him. And when my husband was about to pass, he came over all the time when he was home to see us. And he was just so nice. It's just really weird hearing all these things about him. That's what his neighbors are probably going to say. Assuming his neighbors are old, whatever accent I was trying to do. People.
A lot of these allegations, just from the lawsuits, I think stem back from 93 or 94 and go all the way up into the production of his latest album in 2023 and 2024. And so we're talking about a long span of time, but outside of those lawsuits as well, there has always been these kind of
Will this be enough to make Usher come out?
Involvement to various activities. If you're talking about Cassie's,
or is his career too important? The hit that he takes to his ego, it's probably too great. He's selling records. He can't talk about when he was with Puffy.
I think this is only the beginning.
Allegedly.
To have to corroborate from the people who have come forward, and also a potential of people who we haven't seen come forward to see what evidence they have and to see whether or not it's true, rumor, or something in between.
All right, Brian Buckmeyer and Brad Garrett, thank you so much, both of you, for your expertise. I will be continuing to cover this story as it develops, because again, as we came on the air, that had just happened, and as soon as we learn more, we will bring that to you live.
So all the allegations, the internet is starting to come alive again with Puff Daddy at the head of the doggone ship. Puff Diggity Dog is, and boy, after Puffy, man. Puffy, like, listen, they knew what it was when they came,
and of course,
that's why they came forward.
Here in Holmby Hills, this is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen, and it all unfolded, I'd say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course, it's a little bit calmer, I would say, than it was about 20 minutes ago when it all happened. The guns that were drawn earlier have been since put away. It looks like they just put away their drone, but of course doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected
Yeah, wow.
to these latest allegations.
And from your
So we
vantage
will bring
point,
the very latest as soon as, I'm sorry?
yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill, but if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill. This is obviously prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton.
Humphrey Bogart. Do you guys
near,
understand that?
So the vehicles have basically just moved forward. You're seeing a lot more of those law enforcement officers from the Department of Homeland Security, though, back here on the street in Mapleton since they've come out of the home after they've done their thorough investigating inside that beautiful home belonging to P. Diddy, to Sean Combs. So I don't think they have any intention, Sandra, on going anywhere anytime soon. And overhead, you can see law enforcement helicopters and, of course, Stu up there in Sky Fox.
Thank you so much, Haley, for that perspective on the ground right there in front of that Holmby Hills mansion. Stu, up in Sky Fox, it looks like, yes, there are some more law enforcement, but in different attire. Should I say suits instead of body armor?
Definitely. In the
greatest assets I have no doubt. I didn't even include like Brand.
Nobody don't want to hear from you, brother.
A story we're following, and of course, we're trying to gather more and more information about it here on Live Now from
those heavily armored gear and equipment. I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we would thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and why, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security. You have support from local law enforcement officials as well. We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there. A part of all of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while. And as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly media at this point. We were the first ones here on scene, but yeah, since there's probably a dozen different media agencies. Yeah, it looks like his homes on both coasts are being raided. We still have not gotten word on exactly where P. Diddy is, if he is in fact in New York right now or in Los Angeles. And of course, yeah, we've seen him here in Holmby Hills. This is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen. And it all unfolded, I'd say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course,
we just got this, Jesse. Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, sued, you're talking about the lawsuit, sued Combs in November of 23, allegations about sex trafficking. She's now put out a statement through her lawyer reacting to this what we're watching happening live. We will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible for his depraved conduct. Thinking about Jeffrey Epstein, didn't that start with civil suits?
So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because in this lawsuit that I just mentioned, there was a comparison to Jeffrey Epstein. There was one of the individuals that has been associated
His black
with
ass
Jeffrey
better have
Epstein,
an
they
island he
looked
can
like
go
the
to.
Madam. They almost said she was like the Ghislaine Maxwell. And I remembered that comparison stood out to me at the time. So hearing that from Miss Ventura, which, by the way, she settled her lawsuit with P. Diddy one day after it was filed. Now, having said that, I recall that the statements that were released after that were not saying this was a vindication and that P. Diddy is completely innocent, but that they resolve their issues amicably. But she never gave up her contention that she was sexually assaulted by Mr. Combs.
So I'm just looking again at the pictures here outside his house. You mentioned why you believe the SWAT team is there, because he's known to have weapons. And it's DHA, Homeland Security. Why would they would be the ones investigating? I mean, I know they oftentimes do like child porn and those kinds of things.
If you're talking about sex trafficking, if you're talking about underage women, that is a concern. That is something that comes to my mind. You're also talking, I mean, we could see it here, a massive property. Massive. It is bigger than I've seen.
Yeah.
And what you're seeing here really is a possibility they don't know what they're entering into. And they don't know if there are secret compartments. They don't know who's in the house. And so obviously when you're attempting to go into a property like this, you would see that kind of massive effort. You would see multiple law enforcement agencies going in. And so that's probably, they have the resources to be able to penetrate and go into a property like that.
And they're also going into his house right now in Miami. At the same time, we've confirmed the search in LA, the search in Miami, but it's the Southern District of New York investigating.
Correct. And we don't know what they're investigating. We don't know exactly who they're looking into. I mean, obviously, the speculation at this point is that it is concerned with P. Diddy, a part of an active investigation. We don't know what the charges are or what they're associated. But right now, when you're entering these properties, it is, by all accounts, to arrest and to issue arrest warrants. And clearly, they had some probable cause to believe that there is a criminal activity afoot there and that they are trying to either arrest some of the individuals there or try to get some evidence out of there, whatever that might be. And remember, as I said, I should mention this as well. It's actually, I'm remembering it as we're talking about it. One of the aspects of that lawsuit was that P. Diddy had surveillance footage in his property.
Wait, look real quick. What is this, Jesse? Because these are new pictures.
So if that
there's people in handcuffs now.
That could be his sons. That could be his sons. Again, if that is accurate, I wouldn't be surprised because the allegations put forward in that lawsuit implicated his sons in different criminal activities.
So these are aerial photos from our helicopter in Los Angeles. It's zoomed in now. This is brand new. And there are, let's see, can we count? It's small. A couple of people in handcuffs, a couple of people on the ground. Looks like two boys in handcuffs there facing the bushes.
And let's be clear, they could be detained while the search warrant is going forward, while the house is being searched. It doesn't necessarily mean they are arrested, but they're currently being detained outside while this is happening.
Do we know anything about the whereabouts of P. Diddy?
As far as I know, no. I saw reports online that suggest they might be looking for him. I don't want to confirm that. I don't know where he is, but clearly, if
he in Bali, he with Russell Simmons. Check Russell Simmons' house.
Seen him by now. Now, having said that, we're kind of developing into this story.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that he had already been perhaps detained and he's put in one of those vehicles or was transported somewhere else? That is a possibility. Or it's possible they don't know where he is. And again, we can't 100% confirm what they're looking for, but clearly being at those properties, placing what appears to be his sons in handcuffs is an alarming situation.
Yeah, I don't know if we can go back to the picture of the people in handcuffs. And there were reports earlier that his sons were in handcuffs. So this seems to match up with that.
But again, they could be detained while the search warrant is being investigated.
And the other thing, this is a
be that a situation they're going in at this time just because it's, you know, a sunny day in Los Angeles or Miami. There's a reason they're going in at that time to try to find the individuals they're looking for or the evidence they're looking for at this time.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find
Jay-Z, boy, you better do something, boy. They coming. They on your head, boy.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. Let's bring in CNN security correspondent Josh Campbell and CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Josh, let me start with you. What do these raids by federal agents in multiple locations tell you about the seriousness of this investigation?
Yeah, Wolf, a very significant development here, seeing this law enforcement action taking place. I'll point out, just to be clear at the outset, we don't know that Sean Diddy Combs himself is the subject or target of a federal investigation. So it's just worth pointing that out at this.
Stop the show. Oh, what'd you say, Thomas? You brought up a great point right there, buddy. You brought up a great point. If you go and ring TD Jake's bell right now, boy, you brought up a great point. That's absolutely a great point.
Hour, but what we do know is that two properties associated with him, we saw the feds descend on those properties. We saw on aerial footage, federal agents both here in the Los Angeles area as well as in Miami at those residences. Now, the Department of Homeland Security, their what's called HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, gave CNN a statement. I'll read you part of that when asked about what this activity is. They say that earlier today, HSI New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. That is it, confirming that they are conducting what they're deeming law enforcement action, which could indicate search warrants being conducted there, could indicate arrests being conducted. We just don't know at this hour specifically what that law enforcement action is. It is worth pointing out, though, that Combs himself obviously has faced significant legal woes in recent months. I'll give you just a kind of the highlights of what actually occurred. In November, he was sued for rape and abuse by a former partner. That lawsuit was then settled very quickly. But in December, he faced sexual assault allegations in a complaint filed in the Southern District of New York. The suit was brought by a woman referred to as Jane Doe, who said that she was 17 at the time when these allegations took place back in 2003. He was accused of sex trafficking and gang rape, among other allegations, also in that suit naming two of his associates. Of course, Combs denied any wrongdoing there. And then just last month, a employee of Combs filed a suit also in the state of New York, accusing him of sexual assault, of sexual harassment, and, quote, grooming. That former employee stated that he had worked for Combs between 2022 and 2023. Among those allegations, this former employee, a male employee, said that Combs did not compensate him for his music production work and forced him to procure and interact with sex workers, threatened him with serving alcoholic beverages laced with drugs to guests at parties at Combs' home. And then Combs.
So for a lot of you guys, this is the stuff you're hearing about Combs you're hearing a lot of it for the first time. But this is not new information for a lot of folks who, like myself, who follow the hip hop industry and the, all the debauchery that is associated with it. And so there's a lot that, again, for some of you, now that this is being so public, you're going to be hearing a lot of things. You're like, wow. And then you have to go back and think about how many times you or your somebody party to some music that this man, who is going to probably be accused of some very heinous things, it makes me say, makes me, kind of think about that, like, what were we doing, or what are we doing with this music? Because Puff Daddy is, you know what I mean, aside from Russell Simmons, and I keep making references to Russell Simmons, and for those of you who don't know, Russell Simmons left the country ahead of all this Me Too stuff. If not, he would have got the same thing Bill Cosby got. He would have got the same thing R. Kelly got. Because, you know, if you know the story of Russell and his wife Kimora, um, you know, she was pretty much a teenager when they started dating. Like Jay-Z, you know, he's got a lot of explaining to do, because they're coming down on these folks. And people have been saying for a long time, Jay-Z has been protected by the fact that, you know, Beyonce is the biggest R&B star. Yeah, R&B star. I don't know how what classification music is, but she's the biggest, whatever she is. And the takedown of him may tarnish her thing, but I don't know how that works out. But it makes you say, well, was Jaguar right about the things she was saying? Because Jaguar Wright came to the internet and was like, boom. And for those of you who don't know about Jaguar Wright, she was a backup singer for Jay-Z. She was on one of his most famous back when MTV had when they did that live, you know, the live concert series thing. She was one of his backup singers. And she worked with various people throughout the industry. And so for those of you who have never seen Jaguar Wright, again, it's a lot to take in. And, you know, she threw some things out there, but, you know, she's been begging people to sue her so that she can go to court and, I guess, you know, talk about this stuff in open court. She has a lot to say about some of the heavyweights, one being Sean Puffy Combs. That's why, let's see what you say here. That's why Russell wife walk away with all his company. Well, yeah, Kimora. There's a lot of different reasons he had to just get up out of here. I know that much. He had to get up out of here. If not, he was going down. You know, because I mean, again, look at what they did to Bill Cosby. They was able to go back 30 years. And I heard somebody say before, who was it? Somebody, I don't know who it was. I'll find it. But they said something like, in America, they don't let black superstars make all that money and walk away with it. You know, in order to get it, you're gonna have to have a certain amount of dirt. You're gonna have to have so much dirt on you so that the people above you can maintain leverage on you. However, they acquire that dirt, and so at a time when Puffy should be slowing down, moving into some other different things, you know, they're getting ready to take it off from him. But again, Ms. Jaguar Wright, let's bring her to the stage here. And I'm gonna introduce you guys to her. And this is a snippet of a longer video. I definitely would suggest you go and just put in her name, Jaguar, Jaguar Wright, Wright.
We gonna get you and your little dog too. And congratulations, young Miami. Run as fast as Cassie did.
Real life. It ain't real life.
And this is for purposes only. Come on, real street stars. Y'all go and follow real street stars. Real street stars, please don't flag me. Don't flag me, bro. Don't flag me, bro.
Real
You already know it's the biggest story right now. And I need this clip.
I'm sorry, I'm a little upset about it. Because Al B. Shore just came out of his and I've been talking to Al and
uh, just for those of you who got sensitive ears, Jaguar Wright will drop one or two on you. So here we go.
We've been texting back and forth, and I'm just glad that he's alive to text.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. But when you think about Kim, I was thinking to myself the other day, Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, I'll Be Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. And Kim was the longest working employee. She was there from the very beginning. She was Andre's personal assistant.
Mm.
Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead. Andre Harrell is dead. The only 2 left are Puffy and Al almost died. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Heavy D was found dead, face down in the heart attack. Andre Harrell.
Now, I don't know what she's alleging in this
Kim died from pneumonia,
video, but
there's the first coroner's report that said that she died. It was ruled a homicide, and they found toxins in her body to prove that she had been poisoned. You know, they have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms. And then right after that, Al had a meeting, and I was going to meet up with him because we were in Vegas. And then the next thing you know, you want to know what they all had in common, though? The survivors and the late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books.
Mm-hmm.
Andre was writing a book right before he died. Heavy D was working on a book before he died. Kim Porter was working on a book before she died. And Al B. Sure was working on the documentary of his life. And then he goes into a coma. Has Puffy ever been in a coma? Has anything happened to him? He must be the luckiest motherfucker, because it seems like everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone. Just him. I guess Al disappointed you.
so I'm gonna stop there right there. But yeah, go and seek out some of the stuff that she's saying. Again, she dropped some booms, bombs over Baghdad when it comes to the industry. But again, this is a breaking story about a man named P. Diddy. They're raiding his houses. You think he only got those 2 houses, guys? I mean, you think he just got those 2 houses? You don't think he got more houses? Seems like 2 houses wouldn't be quite enough for somebody of Puff Daddy's stature. And that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? A little more. Let's do this. Here we go.
First, we have some big breaking news. Raids being carried out in several homes belonging to Diddy as part of a trafficking investigation being led on the Southern District of California. Make it New York.
Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is following developments for us. He is in the newsroom. Jim?
Well, Sandra, this is a developing story. The details of this are still a little unclear, but what we know for sure is that federal agents are searching a home in Holmby Hills, California, that our sister station, KBC TV, says is associated with Sean Diddy Combs, the hip-hop music mogul. There's a raid going on at the same time of Miami's as well. It's not yet clear what the investigators are looking for in either home. This video was taken from a helicopter above the Holmby Hills.
I mean, you see how they can build people up, like, and I mean, you think back about, Diddy and it's just like you it's like you can never see these type of things. Police really have nerve trying to talk. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, they do. What do you mean? I don't understand. Give me a little bit more, Legion Leonard. I mean, they're gonna talk. That's what they do. And that's what they do is run their mode. What you got here, Thomas? Normally, the Homeland Security raids a person home. The news media does not have drone overhead. I mean, this was all, and I think they already got Puffy in custody. I don't think that they're doing this and he's just on the run somewhere. I doubt that very seriously. Largest prostitution real estate scheme, lottery scheme, all committed by the police. And what police are you talking about are you just talking about in general, or do you have put me up on game, my man?
California estate, and there, 2 people were taken out of the home in handcuffs. It's not clear yet if they were arrested. Federal sources tell ABC News that the investigation is being carried out in connection with a human trafficking investigation. And here's a look at the scene in Miami, Florida, where authorities are also on the scene of his home there. Diddy has been accused in recent court filings of sexual abuse and forced drugging, even beatings that stem from allegations in the 1990s. He has denied.
Led on
the
Southern District of
California. I
California.
mean, so do you think these allegations?
This video was taken from a helicopter above
Do you
the
think these allegations from the 90s? Do you think they just surfacing, or do you think they surfaced already and the police just kind of held on to it as a a trump card, lack of a better term?
Holmby Hills, California estate, and there, 2 people were taken out of the home in handcuffs. It's not clear yet if they were arrested. Federal sources tell ABC News that the investigation is being carried out in connection with a human trafficking investigation. And here's a look at the scene in Miami, Florida, where authorities are also on the scene of his home. Diddy has been accused in recent court filings of sexual abuse and forced beatings that stem from allegations in the 1990s. He has denied all of those allegations. One victim said that Combs met her at a Harlem restaurant in 1991, drugged her and took her home and sexually abused her, and that he videotaped that assault. Again, Combs denies those allegations. Just one more time, at least 2 homes associated with Sean Diddy Combs are being raided by federal agents connected with the Department of Homeland Security, one in Miami and one in Los Angeles. This is a developing story. We'll have more as it develops.
We continue to follow breaking news on CBS News Miami. Federal agents are conducting raids on P. Diddy's homes here in Miami and in Los Angeles.
Let's get right out to CBS News Miami's Larry Seward, who is at Diddy's home on Star Island. Larry, what are you learning about why this raid is happening?
2 law enforcement sources, according to the Associated Press, says this is part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. But those sources told the Associated Press it's not clear whether Combs is the target of said investigation. His house is just behind me. You can see the trio of federal agents there at the edge of the driveway. They are from Homeland Security Investigations here in Miami. They are working in tandem with the New York Homeland Security Office. We saw just moments ago a K-9 from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol taking down that driveway onto Diddy's property as they continue and investigate this case that's, again, based out of New York. We have some video I want to show you from earlier. Chopper 4 over the scene of the house here gives you a better sense of the scale of the property that the police here are searching. We were told by neighbors that these officers showed up 3 to 4 hours ago beginning this raid here in Miami. At the same time, earlier today in Los Angeles, police with the Homeland Security Investigations Agency raided one of Diddy's homes there as well. Again, it is not totally clear because their explanation to us has been very vague on what it is that they're looking for. I mentioned that we saw a K9 taking up the driveway here. The statement that we got from Homeland Security Investigations reads, and I quote earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and local law enforcement partners. They're going to provide information as it becomes available, but that is really all we know at this point beyond what you can see here live in Miami Beach. As you look at those agents that are at the edge of the driveway, we have seen dozens of them, most dressed like those that you see there, some dressed with vests. And of course, we saw the Customs and Border Patrol K9 unit just go up the driveway to continue this investigation. We'll gather as much information as we can and bring that to you as it becomes available. For now, we're live on Star Island. Larry Seward, CBS News, Maya.
Hey, Larry, before you go, we saw video from Chopper 4 of the very heavily armed
Yeah,
agents broke into the
Suge
home.
got his
Do we
own
know if P. Diddy was
podcast.
inside the house or if anybody
I
was
forgot the
inside the
name
house
of
when
it.
this raid took place?
I'll
Good question. Since we've been here,
figure
we've
out
seen no
what
one
the
detained.
name
We've
of
seen
it
no one
is.
coming.
But there it is, man. Puff Daddy is into it right now. Do you guys think that he's already been arrested, or do you think they he told the pilot in that private jet, take me to Bali, take me to Russell Simmons' house now. Thank you, huh? Gatorade. Thank you for the Gatorade. What do you think? Do you think that think they got him? I don't see nothing up here, I think. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here and go eat. And then while I'm eating, I'm gonna be doing some research, trying to figure out a little bit more as to what it is they had Puff Daddy head for. So give me about an hour or so, fix me something to eat. And I'll be back. And don't forget, tomorrow, tune in. Welcome to the podcast. The mayor will be on. Got a lot of things to talk about because there's a lot of things happening. Whole situation with the superintendent. Got a new principal at Rosemary. Capital project sales tax. Still a lot of different things that you should be concerned about. We got the Democratic primary coming up. And let me see, can I get a plug in for my, what we got here? Oh, what he says here. I think him, TD, Tevin. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, what, I don't know. They know what they do for fame. They know what they tolerate. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.